Okay folks, welcome to tonight's Trade and Chart Focus. Thought we'd have a quick look at the XJO again just to start things off. Talked about last night needing to breach this 4700, and yet again today we've got so close, 4697, couldn't quite get through. So I see that as a really key psychological point as well as technical point really to break through here. If we get through here we may get that continuation of the up leg. As mentioned last night, we may still be range bound between here and 4600 or 4550 or so for a bit, but interesting times for sure. Market was pretty flat today, up 4. Okay, first chart we're going to have a look at is JBH, which we've mentioned last night as well. In fact, we mentioned the last couple of nights we talked about the potential swing here back on Tuesday, and we've got that swing nicely now, so over $1 up basically early today from our entries 2 days ago. Only held a part position overnight, but got a really nice run early in the morning. Pretty indecisive candle there. I don't hold any at the moment. We'll look at the intraday chart. I've mentioned a couple of times how tradable JBH is on an intraday basis. It's just so volatile. This is today's chart. Yesterday it was actually in a much tighter range, but this is today. Dipped early after gapping up. I'm actually going to go back to that best fit. This is the start of today here. So it gapped up nicely and then fell very quickly back into this range and broke support. I actually sold some once. It breached that initial market low and then was out the rest once it reached to 21, as we spoke about the night before. But interestingly, it bounced really nicely there, so it was pretty much a false break under 21, and there was a really nice scalp back to the upside again. So powered back through that point there at 21.22 or 21.20, which was the key resistance from Wednesday anyway. So broke that really nicely, and once it was through there it ran for another 30 or 40 cents. So even if you miss this swing entry here and you're a little more conservative, a break of that initial daily high would have seen a really nice scalp. It dipped only a little from that, actually didn't even breach the base of that last 5-minute candle, and then attacked that high again, and it did get through, but interestingly enough it failed pretty quickly. So once it made close enough to a double top here, you'd be looking at a break of this little support here around the 2150 odd to possibly look for a short scalp. And once it did break, there was a good 20 cents in it to the short side. So really tradable most days, JBH. And if you are a day trader, I'd really recommend watching JBH during the day because there's some great little scalps to be had out of it. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is Origin Energy, ORG. Just go to the end of day chart first. Really lovely swing here. Broke previous resistance quite nicely. So the resistance was 1606, 1606 and 1608. So fairly strong 3-day res around that period. Broke that quite nicely. Hit a high of 1633 before closing down at 1620. Interestingly, 1635 was the previous res just back here. So it did actually fail at that res. Have a look at the intraday chart. Actually opened down, as you can see, broke through that res quite strongly and then powered on for most of the day with a really steep dip at the end of the day. So it's given back good 15 ticks or so. What have we got? A high there of 1633 and a low of say 1620. So 13 ticks it's given back here on pretty decent volume. So that's quite interesting. There's no news come out. I'm not sure what's triggered this dip, whether it's just profit taking or not, but certainly one to watch again in the morning. Okay, next one we're going to have a look at is one down the spec end, and this is BDR, Beetle Resources. Now these guys have had news this morning, so I just wanted to feature this one just to give you an idea of how I play a news play. I've mentioned this a couple of times now, but we'll have a look at the daily chart first. It's run really hard in the last 3 days, as you can see, bouncing off a low of 35, hitting 47.5 today. So gapped up on the news, broke that previous high of 42. We'll go to the intraday chart, and we'll just pull up a daily. I think just have a look at this. Okay, so with news plays, I like to play a break of the initial range. I rarely chase them. If I think it's worth it and they don't gap up too much, I may get a position early, but I normally try to wait 15 to 20 minutes, get a feel for the initial range, and then try to trade a break of it. So as you can see, the first 5-minute candle was high of 43, low of 41.5. The 41.5 held for quite a few candles, and then it started to swing. Tested the 43, 10.35, and then broke. So your entry somewhere in here once it breaks, with a stop, especially with a nice tight initial range like that, a stop out the bottom of the range. And as you can see, all day it actually didn't breach that stop. If you'd missed that entry, I'd be then looking at a break of this one for a new entry. And as you can see, late in the day it did break there, interestingly with increased volume, which we always want to see. And once it broke that 44 res, it actually got as high as 47.5, so really nice quick scalp towards the end of the day. It's closed at or near its highs, on its highs I think, and so you would think with the huge volume that went through, nice strong chart like that, as long as the US behaves overnight, you'd think there's a fair chance that this might actually gap. So I've held a little overnight looking for that gap play in the morning. Okay, next one we're going to look at is NTU. It's one of the rare earth plays, Northern Uranium. That's the daily chart there. You can see, let's just whack an overlay on this for a moment. You can see a bit of a triangle starting to shape here, bit of an equilateral triangle shaping. So looking for a break of that one. But we've also got the swing in play from yesterday, so I'll pull those lines off for a minute. So it's actually broken yesterday's high, which had broken the day before, so nice little uptrend. Bit of volumes kicked in today, so swing's definitely in play here. I've actually got a few on the break of 31 just through here, and I've held them overnight. I think I sold half. I'll hold the rest overnight. Again, I've mentioned several times I'll lock in part positions and give the other part a chance. So we're looking for a break of that trend line. Obvious resistance there at 36, and then the next one's way up here at 40. So that chart's definitely in play in my mind. Another small one we'll have a look at is NCR, New Coal. Now there was NEC went into trading halt this morning with news of non-binding offer. The news hasn't come out yet, so we're not sure if it's a full takeover offer or not, but it seemed to set the junior coal sector alight a little bit. COK was another one that ran quite well early, and this one came to my attention, NCR. I posted a link on the Twitter to some analyst picks of their top coal stocks. This was one of the ones on the list. Nice swing today, broke this little downtrend here from its recent highs last week up to 28.5. So it's dipped quite nicely, basically back to retest previous resistance, which we hope will now become support, and bounce quite well today. So if you missed today's action, high at 27.5, we'd obviously be looking for a break of that, and then to challenge the 28.5 previous resistance. As far as exits, might have a look at an intraday one there. 26.5 was quite strong support during the day, so a break of that, and I'd probably consider exiting that position and keep it quite tight. And that's all I've got for you tonight, so enjoy. Thanks.